Welcome to Jamaican Network. Please click the buttons below to like, share and subscribe to our fun and educational network, the Jamerican Network. Don't forget to hit the notification bell for notification of more awesome content to come.
Butch Stewart. There are some of us who come here in this global village and they make it a better place. They make it a better place. For some of us, not by what they earned in cash and wealth, but what they do in making the lives of others better. Those are the very rich ones. Not by the bank balances, but by what they did to improve the life of the next person. Gordon Arthur Cyril Stewart, Butch Stewart, belongs in that group who left the world a better place than he found it. On July 6, 1941, 79 years ago, when he entered the world in Kingston, Jamaica, Butch Stewart is undoubtedly a business icon in Jamaica, and by his accomplishments and achievements is without doubt one of our finest sons. And today, Jamaicans from all walks of life are in shock, because we tend to fall into a habit of practice, a belief that some people are so ever present. Yes, ever present that when you hear that they have passed, it's like what? Butch was one of those. So, Jamaicans are paying tributes to him at home and abroad this today, as news of his passing is spreading across the world. Butch died at the age of 79 in the United States. And one of the first persons to react to the news was the Jamaican Prime Minister, Andrew Holness.
It is indeed a very sad occasion. Butch Stewart, as you said, is a Jamaican icon, a businessman of the highest order, a Jamaican, a nationalist, someone who truly and deeply loved his country. His charity and philanthropy knows no bounds in Jamaica. His contribution, his work, and his value to the society.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness, there paying tribute to Gordon Butch Stewart. The opposition leader Mark Golding says Jamaica has lost one of its most innovative and successful business leaders. Mr. Golding says Butch Stewart was a truly immense figure on the national and international stage. The tourism minister Bartlett also said the sector is shaken by Stewart's passing.
We all are very, very shaken by the news of the passing of perhaps the most outstanding tourism leader, entrepreneur, and salesman that Jamaica has known in the tourism industry. Certainly, Butch Stewart, having given not just Jamaica, not just the Caribbean, but the world, an enduring brand, sandals, that has become synonymous with the highest standard of all-inclusive products in the world.
Former Prime Minister P.J. Patterson has also paid tribute, as well as the former Prime Minister Bruce Golding, who in the last moments has issued a statement saying the passing of Gordon Butch Stewart has come as a real shock and Jamaica has lost someone who was without doubt the most outstanding creative and successful businessman and private sector leader of, quote, my generation. Former Prime Minister Golding says Mr. Stewart was emblematic of Jamaica's capacity for greatness. The sandals empire that he built over the last 40 years has etched its brand in the leisure market of the world, and made him a global icon of resounding success in tourism. This owes much to his imagination, marketing genius, and his relentless pursuit of perfection. Butch Stewart's legacy, says Bruce Golding, is monumental and will undergird our efforts at nation building for many years to come. And the tributes keep on pouring in. But who was Gordon Butch Stewart? In the few minutes that we have to tell you a little bit more about this giant of a man.
Gordon Butch Stewart, I'm the chairman of Sandals Resorts. I started life in the air conditioning business. We did okay, lots of luck, health was good. And I made sure that every customer got more than they expected to get.
It was in St. Anne that an American sailor gave young Gordon the name Butch after Walt Disney's British Bulldog cartoon. It stuck with him. Gordon Butch Stewart was born in Kingston on July 6, 1941. His father, Gordon, was a radio maintenance engineer, and his mother was Jean Patricia Townsend Stewart. His entrepreneurial instincts were ignited when he helped out at his mother's appliance dealership. He used to catch fish, he says, and sell them as a 12-year-old. He started working just before he was 17. He left for England to complete his education, after which he came back to Jamaica. Gordon Butch Stewart's business career as a leading tourism entrepreneur in the Caribbean didn't start in the hotel or resort industry. It started in sales. Back home from England, Stewart took a job as a salesman of the Dutch-owned Curaçao Trading Company. He rose to the position of sales manager. After 5 years, he tells us he was able to save more than $3,000. That was 1968. He then realized that Federa's air conditioners were not represented in Jamaica. He flew to Edison, New Jersey in the US, where he met the president's nephew. They hit it off. Stewart became Federa's exclusive representative in Jamaica through Appliance Traders Limited. Having pre-sold the entire shipment before landing it, he went all in, guaranteeing customers installation within half a day.
We didn't waste any time. We became number one in air conditioning within 14, 15 months. With all my neighbors would tell me, you buy your air conditioner.
Business boomed, and with the success of Appliance Traders, now ATL Group, the Stewart Empire was born, and the life of the Caribbean super salesman had begun. 1970s Jamaica was a period of turmoil. It was a time of democratic socialism. The economy went into a tailspin, and Stewart's business was not left unscathed.
So we couldn't get our hands on the US dollars to buy the equipment that we needed. And by then, we had developed a sizable business. But it takes money to make it work.
The year 1980 heralded a new government, and an undaunted Stewart had a solution for his U.S. cash flow problems. Despite having no hotel experience, Stewart ventured into the hospitality business, buying the old beachfront property Bay Rock. It was in shambles. Those in Stewart's inner circle knew it was cash or bust.
We bought this. It was 99 bedrooms. About 6 months. Refurbishing, redoing, very primitive. We finished a bedroom, and somebody said, so what color do we paint it? Cream. Cream it, we painted cream. That was our interior design.
But Stewart approached this new business venture with the same philosophy he did at Appliance Traders Limited. The winning formula, he says, is to find out what people want, give it to them, and in doing so, exceed their expectations. Ignoring naysayers and navigating on instinct alone, Stewart made it work 7 months and $4 million in renovations later. The Bay Rock, now Sandals Montego Bay, all-inclusive opened.
Service, attitude, smile, make people feel comfortable. You treat them as honored guests. And anything that they need that's professional, you do it.
He says everybody thought he'd be out of business the first month, because the hotel is very close to Sangster's International Airport, but using his ingenuity and business acumen, he turned what could have been a negative into a positive. He turned the old beach lounges to face the airport. And the magnificent airplane would get up right in front of everybody on the beach. Guests, he says, would come rushing in. Has the Concorde taken off yet? Stewart says in the first 2 years of business, Sandals Montego Bay hemorrhaged money.
First, we lost a lot of money. And then, when the hotel started filling up with 99 bedrooms, we realized that our break-even was like 105%. We didn't have enough bedrooms to overcome the overheads that we kept building in.
So he constructed more rooms, adding never-before-seen features from in-room hairdryers while further expanding the building. The all-inclusive couples-only Sandals brand hit jackpot, bursting onto the hospitality scene and setting the tourism industry on fire. But as Stewart tells it, the secret weapon to success with Sandals Montego Bay was locals who worked at the property.
Jamaicans have big hearts. The personality, the attitude, the mentality. But we get motivated from the guests being happy.
5 years later, in 1986, Butch Stewart added Sandals Royal Caribbean to the Sandals brand. He bought the previous rundown Carlisle on the Bay Hotel and sandalized it. The new all-inclusive Sandals Royal Caribbean Resort kick-started the Sandals chain of hotels.
The bones are right. We go in and take opportunity of the press real estate, put money in, modernize it, sandalize it.
Over the next few years, Sandals expanded Sandals Resort to Negril in 1988 and to Ocho Rios in 1989. In 1991, he opened a second resort in Ocho Rios near the Duns River Falls, and also opened Sandals Antigua, his first resort outside Jamaica. He added 2 more resorts to the Sandals chain in St. Lucia by 1993. Sandals Royal Bahamian in Nassau opened in 1996, and in 1997 Stewart started a second resort chain. Beaches resorts in Providenciales, Turks and Caicos Islands. Butch Stewart says Beaches came from guests who continually said to him, "Butch, we have been here 15 times, 20 times, but now we have kids. We need a place that we can take the whole family." And so the Beaches brand was born.
We just give more than people expect to get, and we accelerate that non-stop. So people know us, they know they can rely on us.
30 years later, Sandals Resorts has perfected the romantic resort experience for couples, earning a worldwide reputation as a place where love is all you need. Because everything else is taken care of. Today, there are 15 luxury-included Sandals resorts located throughout the Caribbean, Jamaica, the Bahamas, Grenada, Barbados, Antigua and St. Lucia.
We just give more than people expect to get, and we accelerate that non-stop. So people know us, they know they can rely on us.
Butch Stewart says he has dedicated the hotel chain to innovative resort development that exceeds people's expectations. In the 1990s, while building his hospitality empire, tragedy struck Stewart and his family. His third son, Jonathan, was killed in a car crash at the age of 24. Stewart said following his son's death, "Nothing meant anything for a while. But he never had any doubts about the business." He says he runs on gut instinct to a large extent, but he has never made a major decision without bouncing it off a circle of people that he has worked with. He leaves behind 7 children. His eldest includes sons Robert or Bobby Bryan and Adam and daughter Jamie. At the time of his death, Butch Stewart lived in Kingston and Montego Bay with his wife Cheryl. Throughout his life, Gordon Butch Stewart's business acumen wasn't limited to just the hospitality sector. His drive to innovate and improve also came into focus during the foreign currency debacle of 1992 and his 1994 agreement to take over the national airline Air Jamaica. During the foreign currency crisis of 1992, when speculators drove the price of the US dollar up from 21 Jamaican dollars to 32. Stewart led the campaign, later dubbed the Butch Stewart Initiative, to stabilize the exchange rate by personally depositing US $1 million a week into Jamaican banks at a rate of $25 to $1 US. It costs them approximately $30 million US. But by the time it was over, Stewart and thousands of ordinary Jamaicans had beaten the international speculators, pushing the price of a US dollar back down to $22 Jamaican. Not long after, in 1994, Stewart agreed to take over leadership of the ailing Air Jamaica, the national carrier. It was a daunting task, but Stewart's formula prevailed for at least a while. He improved the passenger experience, provided increased staff training and expanded routes. In late 2004, Stewart gave the airline back to the government with an increase in revenue of more than US $250 million. But Air Jamaica's problems had the better of him. Stewart's successes have garnered hundreds of personal and industry awards. So impressive is his track record that the Jamaican government made him a Commander of the Order of Distinction in 1988 and a few years later, the Order of Jamaica OJ. The country's fourth highest honor, bringing with it the title Honorable in the 1990s to what was presented with a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Humanitarian Award from the Jamaica America Society, and Ernst & Young voted him Master Entrepreneur of the Decade. Stewart is also a Paul Harris Fellow, Rotary International's highest awardee. At the 2000 World Travel Awards, he was voted Travel Man of the Millennium for his work in promoting Caribbean tourism. In 2011, the Caribbean American Foundation presented Stewart with a Golden Eagle Humanitarian Award in recognition of his philanthropic contributions to education and entrepreneurship in the Caribbean. He has earned a Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Academy of Hospitality Sciences, Travel Weekly, and Global Travel Awards.
Tonight we honour Gordon Butch Stewart.
It's amazing. I really appreciate it so much. And, you know, all the guys that work with me, they're the ones that do the work. So I end up getting the benefit of collecting these great awards. It's very, very important. It's very appreciated. Put yourself in the customer's shoes, and whatever you think you would like, do it for your customers.
Sandals Resorts International won top honors at the 2020 World Travel Awards as the world's leading all-inclusive company for another year. Applauded by thousands of the sector's leading figures, Stewart was also personally honored with another Lifetime Achievement Award, which he accepted on behalf of the 10,000 people who work as part of his Sanders family throughout the Caribbean. On his passing, Prime Minister Andrew Holness hailed Gordon Butch Stewart as one of Jamaica's leading and greatest entrepreneurs.
Butch Stewart, as you said, is a Jamaican icon, a businessman of the highest order, a Jamaican, a nationalist, someone who truly and deeply loved his country. His charity and philanthropy knows no bounds in Jamaica. His contribution, his work, and his value to the society will be deeply missed.
And the Tourism Minister Ed Bartlett also paid glowing tributes to the role and contribution of Gordon Butch Stewart.
We all are very, very shaken by the news of the passing of perhaps the most outstanding tourism leader, entrepreneur, and salesman that Jamaica has known in the tourism industry. Certainly, Butch Stewart, having given not just Jamaica, not just the Caribbean, but the world.
Perhaps less well known is the extent of his considerable philanthropy. Sandals Resorts International currently gives active support to more than 150 major projects in many communities through the company's philanthropic arm, the Sandals Foundation. The support ranges from the building of schools to paying teachers, to providing hospitals with linen, to bringing health care to the doorsteps of those who cannot afford it. In 2020, the world was brought to a halt by the COVID-19 pandemic. World travel came to a halt, closing the doors, leaving thousands of workers unemployed. Stewart Sandals' chain wasn't spared the impact of the coronavirus, but Butch Stewart had this message for his Sandals family.
Every travel agent knows that you're the backbone of Sandals Resorts. I don't want you to worry, because every little thing is going to be just fine. Love is all you need. Miss you. Let us see you soon. All the best.
Gordon Butch Stewart OJCD is a local boy who made good. During his life he blazed the trail of far-reaching business leadership, spearheading 24 diverse companies that are collectively Jamaica's largest private sector group. To attempt to qualify or quantify the genius of Butch is futile. Opening up to Real Life magazine, Stewart says, "I tend to work to extremes, but laughter is the best cure possible." Laughter and salt water. And what of his legacy? He says, "As long as most people think I've done something good with my life, that's plenty good enough for me." Gordon Butch Stewart dead at 79 years old. Rest in peace, champ.
Thank you YouTube audience and subscribers for enjoying yet another episode from the Jamerican Network. I, Paul Hay, certainly appreciate your interest and support. If you want to not miss out on any and all episodes, you can click the subscribe button below, and activate the notification bell and click all, to be notified whenever I post other thought-provoking episodes. Once again, thank you, and blessings. Oh, please share also.